Lightning in a bottle, the perfect storm, the planets aligning. It's not often that all the best things come together at once in the same place, but when they do, it's worth the wait. One such moment is the inception of the H. Moser & Company Streamliner Concept Minute Repeater Tourbillon Blue Enamel, which answers the question, what cool stuff should I have in a watch? With a resounding yes. Here's everything you need to know about it. Moser has earned a reputation over the decades for crafting not just intricate mechanisms and beautiful dials, but also producing some of the most elegant and interesting cases in watchmaking. A case whose sole purpose is to protect the contents of a watch from falling to the ground in an expensive mess can only really do so much before it simply becomes designed for design's sake. Finding a balance between form and function is harder than playing catch with a rattlesnake, and yet time after time, Moser has found a way. For its most formal watch, the Endeavour, there's sculpted channels. For the sporting Pioneer, there's hollowed gills. For the range-topping Streamliner, there's an artful blend between case and bracelet, smoother than a greased-up ice rink. Drawing inspiration from the aerodynamic elegance of the 1930s, the Streamliner slips through the air with ease. Never will wristwatch-induced drag be a complaint again, or ever. So we've got Moser's most popular design as the foundation for our watch. Next is the Caliber HMC 905's impressive resume, which starts with a tourbillon. It's a real showstopper in most watches, but here it's simply one of the gang. Moser reintroduced the tourbillon into its collection in 2014, and have since taken off the training wheels to recreate it in a flying arrangement, where support comes only from the rear. This opens up the view in the front to fully enjoy the spinning wonder. For most watches, this would already be enough to have it ascend into greatness, but for Moser, it's just the appetizer. For the main course comes a complication so, well, complicated, it had to be created in partnership with the minute repeater specialists, Timeless SA. What makes a minute repeater so hard to make? Well, it's basically a mechanical calculator that adds up the passing hours, quarter hours and minutes to ring out the time on demand with a slide of the side-mounted lever. To do this, the watch has to know what the time is, and that's done with 3 cams profiled for every hour, every quarter, and every minute within those quarters. Unlike a lot of modern watchmaking, which can be produced very accurately and repeatably, the minute repeater remains one of the few complications left that still requires hand refinement from a master watchmaker to get it working perfectly. It's as much an instrument as it is an implement, and must be fine-tuned not to operate like a bag of spanners. Not only must the mechanics get a tune-up, but the chime as well. If the hammers and gong that strike the chime had the pitch and tone of a rusty chipmunk, it wouldn't matter how intricate it was, people would pay good money for it to shut up. That's why these musical components must also be hand-tuned to realize their full potential. After all that hard work to get the gong sounding sweeter than the doorbell at Buckingham Palace, it would be a shame to hide it all. Most minute repeaters do, seating the hammers and gong around the back, where they can't be seen. Not only does it hide them from view, it also damps the tone in a soundproof booth of flesh and hair. Not the best the complication deserves, really. So for the Concept Minute Repeater, the action gets moved to the front. It's like lifting the lid on a Steinway, getting golden circle tickets right at the front, and there's been no expense spared in putting on a show. Both hammers, one for the hours, both in sequence for the quarters, and one for the minutes, sit top left, sweeping the dial out of the way like a little steel snow angel. Moser even, and points for you if you notice this, separated out the gongs side by side instead of one on top of the other. Not only does it look cooler with both being on show, it also slims the case down for a thinner profile, and gives them more room to resonate. That's cranking it up to 11. And yet we're still not done with this maelstrom of watchmaking magic, because at the centre of attention, in amongst all this mechanical mastery, is the aqua blue fume dial in Grand Feu enamel. That's a gold base with a hammered-style texture, layered in ground glass from dark to light, fired in an oven at almost 1500 degrees to melt into a smooth, translucent, well, glass again. This process is repeated several times to build the colour, which then gets polished to an incredibly high shine to become the world's most expensive forbidden candy. I'm getting tired now, so I'd love to say we've reached the end of our tour of this absolute monster of a watch, but there's still more to say, because the Caliber HMC 905 isn't so bad to look at from the back either. It's manually wound, with no rotor weight blocking the cascade of immaculately hand-finished gears down to the tourbillon, or the spinning governors that regulate the speed of the minute repeater's chime. It'll give you a full 90 hours of uninterrupted drooling time before you have to wind it back up again. I have to warn you, if you like collecting watches, the H. Moser & Company Streamliner Concept Minute Repeater Tourbillon Blue Enamel may not be the ideal choice. This seems counterintuitive because it is so rich with every aspect of watchmaking. Well, that's true, but once you have it, it might become challenging to find anything else you want more. And really, it begs the question, why wear something boring when you could be wearing this instead?